What I do every day is incredibly intimate. I'm either in my softly lit room with its warm, soft massage table, or I'm in a dimly lit birthing room. The people that I work with every day are in some way naked. Some of them are actually physically naked, and some of them are working towards being naked in their vulnerability. As a midwife, I work with women who are reaching deep down inside of themselves to find the strength to do something that's so incredibly difficult, it probably supersedes anything they've done before in their whole lives. As a body worker and a craniosacral therapist, I work with people whose jaws are like steel, and their shoulders are like stones, and their bellies are tight as drums, and they're just holding themselves together somehow until they can crawl into bed that night. What happens as we work together is that those muscles start to soften. And as the muscles soften, the throat softens. And as the throat softens, often words start to come out. I listen to a woman tell me about how she's just lost her 6th pregnancy. When, she says, when will I ever be able to hold my baby in my arms? Sometimes the words that come out can barely come out in a whisper because they've been thrown down into the bottom of this person until they don't even recognize the light of day. I listened to a person whisper these words. I always hated my brother. He was so mean to me. I must have wished 1,000 times that he was dead, and then he died in that car accident. What I'm going to ask you to do with me here today is to get a little bit naked. You can keep your clothes on. But I want you to maybe get a little bit vulnerable. Maybe push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone. I am going to ask you to participate. You were warned. I'm going to ask you to sing. But first, I'm going to share with you all how singing has been so important in my life. Everyone in my family plays at least one instrument and sings. My earliest memories are of singing. I remember when I was really little, my mom singing the little church school songs that she loved so much to me. Climb, climb up sunshine mountain, faces all aglow. I remember being snugged down between my parents' legs in the front seat of their big white Chevy convertible, and my dad singing along to Andy Williams. Moon River, wider than a mile. My grandmother plays piano by ear, and many nights we would all end up in the living room singing in 4-part harmony as she played old hymns and popular songs. I don't remember learning how to harmonize any more than I remember learning how to breathe or how to blink my eyes. As I got older, I began to take music more seriously. Both of my parents are professional musicians, and I was following along in that same path, and I ended up at Oberlin College studying classical music there. I also started to sing with a bunch of different bands. Everything from a jazz ensemble to a Pretenders cover band. Yes, that dates me, I know. What I learned about music there is that all music, from Puccini to the Pretenders, requires us to get a little bit outside of ourselves. We need to be able to sing our own part at the same time that we're listening to everything going on around us, or we're going to miss the whole musical experience. It's like singing a round of Row Your Boat. We're going to sing a round of Row Your Boat. Everyone knows this song, so I think we can do it. Can I have the house lights up just a little bit, maybe? Okay, I'm going to split us up into 3 sections. Section 1 is this one here. Section 2, you're here all the way up to the balcony. And this is section 3 over here. Starting with section 1, You're going to sing, row, row, row your boat. Well, you're going to wait until we start. But I appreciate your enthusiasm. And then row, row, row your boat, and then row, row, row your boat. And we're going to sing it through a couple of times, and I think we can do it. Are you guys ready? Okay, here we go. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. That was great. Really great. After I graduated from Oberlin, I moved to New York City. And I had a lot of different jobs. I was a model, I was a fashion forecaster, I was a graphic designer, and I was an office temp. One of my jobs as an office temp was with a very prestigious Madison Avenue consulting firm. I'm talking Armani suits and multi-million-dollar contracts. I wanted to fit in really badly, and I wanted to do really well. But what happened was that I was trying so hard to fit in and trying so hard to do well that I lost my voice. I forgot my part. Right around that time, a friend introduced me to yoga, and that led me to meditating. And pretty soon, I was doing one or both of those things every day, sometimes just for a few minutes. What happened is that I started to hear my voice. I learned that if we don't listen, we can't hear our voice. Simple, but how many of us actually take even just a minute or two a day to listen to our voices? So I use this skill, this ability to listen to my voice and to harmonize with what's going on around me in every role I've had in my life. But in no role more than in my work as a midwife. As a midwife, you're bombing into someone's life right when they are most vulnerable, right when they are wide open, and you're only going to be with this person in this very intimate way for a short period of time. But you feel completely responsible, not just for their physical well-being, but for their emotional and psychological and even their spiritual well-being. What I've learned from midwifing is that it is not enough for me to hear my part. It is not enough for me to know my part. It is only going to work if I am completely and totally grounded in my part. I have to be so grounded in my part that I can exquisitely listen to my client, and I can allow her to do whatever she needs to do to get that baby out, and I will still be okay. I was lucky enough to be with my friend Sarah when she gave birth. Sarah is a natural-born singer, and this was her first birth. She had been working really long and really hard, and this whole birthing thing was turning out to be way more than she had expected, which is not uncommon. I was trying to find a way to help her settle back into her body and push through this hard spot that she was in to the even harder spot that she had to get through in order to get her baby. And what I realized is that her voice had gotten all high and thin and squeaky. And this was my friend Sarah with the beautiful, resonant alto voice. I said, Sarah, can you match this pitch? Oh. She looked at me, and then she matched the pitch. And then I watched as her body started to tense for the next contraction. But then she looked at me again, and we started that pitch up again. And she started to move the pitch, and I moved my pitch with hers, and then I started to harmonize as she moved, and we were singing in harmony, and her body melted. She was now working with the energy that was coursing through her body rather than tensing up against it. And it was not long before she opened and literally sang her baby out. What I learned from this birth is so simple and so profound. Tensing up doesn't work. Trying to control things that are bigger than ourselves doesn't work. Yes, it's a biologically wired response. What do deer do when they sense danger? They freeze. But what do deer do when the danger is past? Have you ever watched? They shake themselves and they go right back to doing exactly what they were doing before they sensed the danger. What do humans do with our vastly superior brains? We don't usually shake and go right back to doing what we were doing. We get stuck. We get stuck in that state of fight or flight. And sometimes we carry it around with us and we replay the incident in our heads and in our bodies until they are so heavy that they have cut us off from our breath and from our voices. Some of us, in fact, almost 70% of us, according to studies by the Mayo Clinic, try to fix this problem by taking prescription medications. Painkillers and antidepressants are the two most prescribed. There is a time and a place for painkillers and antidepressants, of course. But sometimes they're just a stopgap measure at best. And what would really work is to not tense up, to not get stuck in that state of fight or flight. But how do we move? How do we come out of this state of fight or flight when we're stuck in it? How do you get something moving when you're frozen? I have two secrets for you. One is you have to get a little bit comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yes, nobody likes to be uncomfortable. I will do practically anything to avoid being uncomfortable. But if I have learned nothing else from women in labor, it's that we can be extraordinarily uncomfortable and still be okay. And that's the second secret. We don't usually have to be extraordinarily uncomfortable to reap the reward. We can just be a little tiny bit uncomfortable. We just have to get something, anything little moving, and it will break the ice. And then the rest will start to flow. For me, the easiest thing to get moving often is my breath and my voice. I can do it anywhere. I can do it in the wings before I come out and do a TED Talk. You could do it in your car before you go into a big meeting. You could do it right here in your seats in the Victoria Theater, and you're going to. So this next part that I'm going to ask you to do with me, we have our lovely Stiver students here to help us, has two parts. So I'm going to describe them to you first, and then I'm going to ask you to do them. It's a little bit reachy, but after that amazing rendition of Row Your Boat, I know you can do it. So the first thing that we're going to do when I say is we're going to take a breath in. But we're not just going to take a breath in. We're actually going to feel the air come into our noses. We're going to feel that cool air on the skin on the inside of our nostrils. We're going to feel it hit the back of our throats. We're going to feel it make that curve down past our vocal cords until it fills our lungs. And then we're going to open our mouths and we're going to sing a note. You're going to sing your note. I don't care what note. Pick a note. Any note. It's your note. But I want you to sing it with conviction. You are not going to be swayed off your note. All right? It's going to sound like total cacophony in here. It is, but that's okay. We'll survive. Then, keeping that note going, Stiver students, you're going to help me with this. You're not going to stop that note from going. You're going to sing that note with conviction. But at the same time, now I'm going to give you a signal, and you're going to open your ears. And you're going to start to hear what your neighbors are singing. You're going to hear the neighbors right around you. You're going to hear your neighbors way up in the back of the balcony. And you're going to let yourself melt just a little bit. You're going to let yourself melt just enough that your voice can move and find a way to make a harmony. We may all end up singing a unison note, and that's okay. That's a beautiful, harmonious sound. We may end up singing an entire chord, and that's beautiful too. Are you ready? Okay. Come on, this is the last thing you have to do before you get cookies. Here we go. All right. I want you to draw a breath in through your nose. I hear you. Get your note in your head, and now open your mouth and let out your note. Do it. Do it. Yes. Keep it going. Keep that note going. Keep it going. Now open your ears while you keep that note going, and let's find a way to harmonize. Find your neighbors' voices and bring it into harmony. It's coming. I hear it. It's coming. That's your note. I hear it. That's beautiful. That was actually really kind of amazing. In fact, what you all have done here, just in this little short talk, is pretty amazing. First of all, you opened your mouths and sang in front of hundreds of people. But more than that, you then sang a part, and other people sang other parts, and you didn't lose your part. You made a really uncomfortable chord, and you sat in it, and that was a really uncomfortable chord. But you sat in it, and it didn't kill you. And then you found a way to open up your ears and melt just enough to harmonize with this entire theater full of people. I hope that the next time that you find yourself worried or frightened or overwhelmed, that you'll remember this feeling of getting something little moving. That feeling of the breath coming into your body and your mouth opening and your voice coming out. And now, I think you all deserve to give yourselves a round of applause. And more than that, I think you deserve cookies. Our Stiver students are going to sing us out. Please go grab some cookies and come back ready for more.